on this computer. Okay, here we go. All right. Let's talk about a geofarm and what a geofarm looks like. Geofarms are good. Geofarms are definitely, if you're ready to put the effort into a geofarm, they can be super productive, but they take time. All right, so a geofarm, and for the folks that are on the, with their sheets in front of them, it's focused marketing on a geographic space. Okay. And when we talk about a geographic space, we're talking about a subdivision. We're talking about an area that you're really going to dive into. Now, when you're going through a geofarm, the goal at the end of the day is really so that you have the expert knowledge of the farm. You know everything that's happening within that globe, or within that geospace. And there's a lot of aspects to that from a marketing perspective. There are a lot of aspects from just a residence, understand the residents, understand the dynamics, understanding the, how many homes are sold, who the key players are, who the HOA presidents are. There's a lot to it. But I will tell you now, success in a geofarm, there are some tenets to this. And the first one is a commitment. Okay. And that commitment is probably a 12 to 18 month commitment to a geofarm. So if you're ready to step into one, you really have to say, okay, I'm going to commit the time. I hear so many agents. Well, let me go to the next one. The next one is consistency. And what I mean by consistency is you are reaching out, you are touching them multiple times every single month. And whether it be a postcard, whether it be an in-person event, you are touching them every single month. I hear so many people say, hey, I'm farming. Well, okay, so that's great. You're farming, but what are you really doing? Well, I'm sending a postcard every day. Or I'm sorry, every month. That's not necessarily farming. That in my mind is a waste of money, because you're just throwing a postcard out, but because there's no consistency, they don't know that they can't get to know you. All right. The next one is persistence. And persistence is how do you stay present? And then how do you use your competition to your advantage? How do you say, we've got one agent in town here in Grand Junction that loves to send and loves to do geofarming, sends postcards like crazy, but he's never out walking the neighborhood. So how do people know him other than through postcards? Where I think a true geofarm is you're getting out in front of people, and that persistence that you have is really going to lead them down to the next one, to the next tenet, and that's engagement. And then engagement is, I keep talking about it, it's the know, like, and trust. Are you taking them through the know, like, and trust paradigm? Do they know you? Do they like you? And to the point where when they're ready to raise their hand and trust you to help sell their home, right? And then the last tenet is excitement. Okay. And whenever you walk into that subdivision, to that geofarm, you have to be excited to be there. Those folks will feed off of that excitement that you portray. So, whatever that is, you've got to get yourself in a good, positive state so that when you go into that geofarm, they really know you and they like you and they can feel your energy. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about characteristics. So how do we define a geofarm? How do we plan for a geofarm? The first thing that I'll tell you is, given your guys' state, I would say take a look at a farm that's no more than 100 to 200 homes big. Okay. Those 100 to 200 homes in your area. After that, I think it's going to get really unwieldy. I think it's going to be, it's while you're getting this farm up and getting used to doing this, being out in front of 100 to 200 people, that's quite an ask. It can be done. And I think that's where you guys need to be right now. Okay. The next thing is, it has to be in a price point that you desire. So do you want to do a geofarm in a mobile home park? You could do that. Do you want to do a geofarm in a, million plus neighborhood? You can do that too. If you want to find somewhere in a sweet spot and maybe the 400 to 600 range, you can do that too. What is the price point that you desire to be in? That's where I want you to be focusing your geofarm on. Okay. The next thing is you want an 8 to 10% turnover rate. Right. And what does that mean is out of 100 homes in that subdivision, that you're seeing 8 to 10 of them sell every single year. Right. That's the market share that you're going after when we start talking about a geo farm. Right. Anything less than probably 5, you're wasting your time. And then obviously a greater turnover rate is better because now you're gonna generate more business. But at a minimum, 8 to 10%. All right. And then the next thing that I don't think a lot of people do is they don't look at what other agents are participating and doing some geo farming. So if you find a place and you look at the number of homes that have sold in the last year, and there's another agent that has sold 25% or more, just let it go, because they have obviously farmed it, and breaking into that farm is going to be incredibly hard. Okay. So no agent has more than 25% of the market share in there. Now, if there are a couple agents and they each got 5% or 10% of the market share, yeah, absolutely go get it and try to get that 100%, try to take all that market share. But if somebody's 25% or better, they've really got their roots in there. Okay. So the next thing, there's some data that you need to know and understand about a geofarm. Okay. And the first one is the number of non-owner occupied homes. Okay. So non-owner occupied homes. Okay. i.e. these are renters. So what that means is you can be engaging the landlords, the people that are not living there, that own the home, in a way that says, hey, what are your plans for your home? Are you getting ready to sell it? Are you thinking you're going to hang on to it for next, 2 to 3 years, either 5, 10 years, based off the market conditions? What do you want to do with your home? Hey, you got a lot of equity in your home. Do you want to cash it out, use it for something else? Those are the non-owner occupies, the homes that you have. The other way that I want you to think about is now there are renters in those homes. And so if you've got a 2,200 square foot home, you can do the average rent in your area and figure out and have the conversation with them that says, hey, you're renting a home, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Have you ever thought about buying your own home? Let me help you do that. So non-owner occupied homes are a great target as you go into a geofarm. Okay. Now, the next one is number of owners that have lived in their home over 10 years. It used to be that homeowners were staying in their homes, 6 years, 6, 7 years, and then looking to upgrade. Now it's right around the market average is right around 10 years. So who are those folks? Who are those owners that have been in their homes for over 10 years? Those are the folks that are going to move first. So those are the folks that you want to be engaging as you go through this. You're going to want to know average sale price and average sale price over the last 6 months. You can even look at trends and say, where was it 12 months ago? Where is it 6 months from that, or 6 months ago? What is the average sale price right now? This is part of that being the knowledge expert for the subdivision. Average days on market. How long are homes sticking on the market for? How long has it taken them to sell? You can even look at homes that may be on the market and have not sold in the last, it took them 30 days to sell versus 90 days to sell. And you could probably look and say, hey, the one that took 90 days to sell might be a little overpriced for the condition of the home. Right. Really dial in your data for the last 6 months with as crazy as this market's been. I would say really understand the market data for the last 6 months. All right. Let me see. You want to know, as I talked a little bit before, you want to know agents with market share. And who are those agents that are your competition? What are they doing? How are they doing it? What is their offering to the sellers? Are they a discount brokerage? Are they taking cell phone photos versus professional photos? Really dig in and understand who your competition is, because now you can understand the chinks in their armor, and you can understand how you can how you can get the leg up when you go to a listing appointment. Okay. Next thing is understand the demographics. Those demographics, schools, shopping service, service items. Those are all, even if it's around the farm, it's not in the farm, but maybe it's external to the farm. That's something that you truly need to know, where people are shopping. Are they going to the Safeway? Are they going to the King Supers? Do they use this gas station? Do they use that gas station? But really just have a good sense of what those demographics and what the folks are doing in that particular subdivision. Okay. Now, let's talk about the plan and what you need to be doing in order to run a successful geofarm. Okay. The first thing, you got to plan for time. And that time is 12 to 18 months. So just plan it, understand it, and understand that you're going to commit the efforts in there. Okay. The next one is, what financial commitment are you going to provide to that? So a general rule that you can use is take and plan for $1 a house plus $200 for miscellaneous marketing every month. So for a 100 home subdivision, plan about $300 a month to market that house. Okay. Now, let's talk about engagement. How do we engage them? What do we say to them? How are we reaching out to them? Okay. First of all, plan to have at a minimum of 18 connections per home before your farm is going to start producing. Yeah, I said 18 contacts. Now, those contacts can be in the form of postcards, mailers, face-to-face, door knocking, phone calls, but you're probably estimating about 18 contacts per household before it actually starts producing. All right. Now, so let's talk about some of those events. You can do you can host a homeowner event. All right. That might be a neighborhood party. That might be, if you want to get into it, maybe you host a run or some kind of a fundraiser event that you can rally the subdivision around. But ultimately, you as a real estate agent are hosting that particular homeowner event. You can also sponsor an event. Okay. And when I say sponsor event, I said, things like a neighborhood yard sale. And this is something where you're going out, you're helping to organize it, and then you're sponsoring it by providing the marketing and advertising for that particular neighborhood yard sale. Okay. As you continue to engage the homeowners, make sure you're keeping them up to date on market data. Once again, you are the knowledge expert. You want people to come to you. You want them to raise their hands and come and ask you for all the information about their particular subdivision. All right. I love door knocking. That's the next one. And door knocking with pop buys. So, and there's 1,000 different ways that you can do pop buys, but door knocking with pop buys is absolutely beneficial. Attend the HOA meetings. So get friends with the president, with the secretary, and go visit the HOA meetings. Spend time with them. They will value that you're taking an interest in their particular subdivision. Okay. Now let's talk about what we need to communicate. the big thing that when you start communicating with them, you want to be bringing value to everything every time you have an engagement with them. So once again, keep the homeowners updated on market data, market info. In this case, it might be that, what the average sale price is, who's moving in, who's moving out, what the home sold for. That's all valuable information that homeowners want to know about their subdivisions. Communicate. You can talk about the events we just chatted about, and informate. You could even chat. One thing we didn't talk about is local events. So, for example, here in Grand Junction, we've got a farmers market. You can keep them up to date on the farmers market, or is there a sporting event coming up? Is there a concert event coming up? Those are all things. Those are all local events that you can communicate to your subdivision. All right. Another thing you can communicate to the subdivision are seasonal tips. In Grand Junction here, we've got swamp coolers. And you got to go get it serviced in the spring, and then closed out in the summer or in the winter, right in the fall, before it gets cold and freezes. So what seasonal tips are out there? Gardening in the spring is a great one. How do you treat your lawn before the winter comes? Those are all great things to keep them up to date with. Okay. So we've talked about the plan, we talked about the time, we talked about the price, we talked about engaging them, we talked about what to say to them. Let's talk about now what that frequency looks like for talking to our subdivision. All right. The first one is, let me see here. Let me jump to my notes. Okay, so now we're looking at every month talking or sending some kind of a touch, being present with them 2 to 3 times per month, and that could be postcards. You can which one you can use? You can utilize the title company or Every Door Direct, and we're going to talk about Every Door Direct here in just a moment. Okay. Once a quarter, I think you need to do a face-to-face touch or some kind of an event, whether you're out door knocking, whether you're sponsoring an event, but once a quarter, you're out in front of them doing something. Okay. And then once a year, you're really dialing in with some kind of big special hosted event. Okay. Now, why do I say that? Is because you're taking them down the know, like, and trust paradigm, as we've talked about. They've got to know you. They've got to like you. If they just know you through postcards, how are they going to get to like you and then ultimately trust you? So being present in a subdivision is super, super valuable. And that face-to-face with them is, I think, just that's going to tip it over the edge. And so let's for example, let's say we started in January and you've sent 3 postcards a month, January, February, March, April, and you're ready to now drop it down to 2 postcards a month starting in May. But why don't you host a yard sale? With that yard sale, now you're spending some marketing dollars to help them. You're coordinated with the HOA. You've set up a time and date. You're doing the marketing. The HOA is helping you let all the homeowners know. And so let's call it May 20th. You're going to do a yard sale on let's call it a Saturday. And all of a sudden, all these homeowners open up their garages and they start selling their stuff. You as an agent now are walking around meeting all of those folks in the yard sale saying, hey, thanks for doing the yard sale. Hey, I am Jimmy Klager and I'm with Coldwell Banker. And by the way, we wanted to help you guys help the subdivision out and wanted to get this going. At which point you're going to say, hey, have you had any thoughts about buying or selling and then purchasing a house? So it's just a natural lead in. They've known you through the postcards. They're starting to like you because you set up the whole yard sale. Now you're leading them down that like to trust because you're building a relationship, a face-to-face relationship with them. Okay. All right. Let's talk now a couple of tactics. There's a tactic that's EDDM. We call it every door direct. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this up. And I'm going to have this because I want to show you how this thing, how this thing works. All right. So let me share. Share screen options. Okay, no, that's not what I wanted. Share screen. And oh, it's not gonna, it's okay. I got to work on that one here for a minute. Okay. Okay, here, let me explain it to you. Every door direct, if you haven't used Every Door Direct, that is a way for you to build postcards, make some postcards, take them to the post office, and they have an actual routes that they will put these postcards into. And when you go to Every Door Direct, it'll tell you, hey, this particular route has 150 homes in it. It's going to cost you $100, and you give them the postcards and they mail them out for you. So you give them the postcards, you give them the money, and then they take care of the rest of the mailing for you. It's super convenient. It's super easy to do. And that's the way I would highly recommend you start pushing postcards to a particular subdivision. The next thing you can do is you can co-sponsor your mailings with potentially a title company or a lender. These folks like the exposure too. If you're helping out with all the work, they're going to come in, they're going to help you with the postcards. They may throw you, $50 of that $100 that it costs you to do mailers. And now you've just acquired, you acquired some help through for marketing to the geo farm. Okay. Speaking of title companies are a great wealth of information. They've got databases that'll give you homeowners' names. They can help you with the turnover rate. They can help you with non-owner occupied homes. And they can help you with how long. So question, I'll get to you in just a sec, Jennifer. It's a good question. And then how long homeowners have lived in their homes. So I would definitely, when you go to a title company and say, hey, I'm getting ready to do a subdivision, here's the information I need, they'll be more than happy to help you with getting that information ready to go. So, all right, Jennifer asked a question. Let me go to the chat. Okay. All right, so we've got let me see here. I'm just running through the chat. Anyone have a link to the notes? I'm having a hard time. Okay, we'll get you. Okay, good. Thank you. Cole, Jolie, yep, got it. Okay, Jennifer, good. Are you obligated to use them? The answer is I would. If they're putting marketing dollars towards you, then yes, I would use them. So if you've got a particular lender that you use, that's who I'd reach out to. If you got a particular title company, that's who I would reach out to. And then any business that comes from that geo farm, automatically you put that lender in front of the seller who would become a buyer. And then you're using that title company to go ahead and close it out. So you're just building a good relationship with those folks. Okay. So, all right. All right. Now, this is where I'm going to try to do this a little bit differently because of the way things. Okay. Any questions on the geofarm before I get into circle prospecting? Pop them up. Okay. Got it. Now, let's talk about circle prospecting, and I'm going to do some drawing, and I'm going to put it up on my screen. Yes.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Yeah, go for
When
it.
you mentioned that we can that we should be educated on market share of what other agents have on market share in a neighborhood that we're doing, or a geofarm.
Yep.
How do we find that information? Can we find
Yeah.
that in Paragon or something? Or
Yeah, good question. I would say go to your MLS. You can search by subdivision and then search by all sold homes in the last 6 months or 12 months. All right. That's going to give you everything that's sold in that 12 months. And then you're just going to have to go to every single one of those and figure out who the listing agent was and then who the selling agent was through those homes or through that. Okay.
Jimmy, is that the only way to figure out if it's been geofarmed already, is to go through the MLS like that?
That's probably the easiest way.
Okay.
If sometimes if you talk to a title company, you may say, hey, do you know if anybody else is farming this particular neighborhood? And they might know. So, okay. One thing that I forgot to put in here, and it came into my mind when you're talking about a subdivision that you want to farm, make sure it's someplace that you want to be farming. Because if you don't want to be there, you're not going to be excited about farming it. All right. But if you go, hey, you know what? I just enjoy this neighborhood. I enjoy the people. And you're working on developing a relationship with those folks. You're going to be in a much better state of mind when you, as you go into the subdivision and talk to folks. Okay. All right. Any other questions? So those are good couple of questions there. Yes, no. All right, good. All right, perfect. Now let's go into circle prospecting. All right. Circle prospecting is a way that you can prospect around a particular listing and then let that listing in a particular subdivision become kind of help you morph into a geofarm. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle, and that's the listing that I have around, and just draw a circle around it. If you use a CB package, you're going to get 75, just solds, or just listed, just solds postcards in and around that particular listing. Right. Now the question is, what else can I do with those 75 names, addresses, and phone numbers and we can get you the names, addresses, and phone numbers around that particular listing. But why couldn't you just go out and contact them and tell them what's going on with that particular listing? So I came up with 4 different times that you can go out, and whether it's door knocking, whether it's calling the folks in and around that particular listing to keep them updated on that particular listing. So the first one, the first contact that you would have as soon as it's listed. So just listed is the first time that you're gonna reach out to them. And when you reach out to them, the script's going to sound something like this, hey, Bob and Betty, Jimmy Clegger here, Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. I want to let you know that your neighbor at 123 Banana Street just listed their house. It's currently on the market for $400,000. If you have any questions, please let me know. I want to be your resource expert. And you're going to keep it super short, super simple, but you're just going to give them a quick update on the property. The next property, or the next time that you're going to contact them, is once it goes under contract. And that script is going to sound something along like this. Hey, Bob and Betty, Jimmy Clegger here, Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. Promise you I'd keep you updated on your neighbor's property at 123 Banana Street. It just went under contract. We were in a multiple offer situation. I can't tell you what we're under contract for, but I will tell you it's a good, strong offer on their house. If you have any questions, again, I want to be the market. I want to be a resource for any kind of market information, and appreciate you. Take care. Super simple. Maybe even trying to get them, if they enter into a conversation, want to know more about it. Yeah, absolutely. Tell them what you can share with them. All right. The third time that you're going to contact them is once you're through inspection. And now the script is going to sound something like this. Hey, Bob and Betty, Jimmy Clegger here, Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. Hey, just want to let you know that your neighbors at 123 Banana Street, they are through the inspection process, and the home is, things are moving forward. We're looking to now the appraisal phase and then ultimately closing. Why do I want to share that it's through inspection? Is that's the time when most homes, home transactions fall through and people fall out of contract. So I just want to let you know that things are moving forward, and I will keep you updated and abreast of the information on your neighbor's house. The last time you're going to call them is just closed. Okay. This is probably my favorite script out of all of them. And so, you as the listing agent, if you've got a listing, or if you go to the closing with the listing agent, say, look at the buyers across the table and go, hey, John and Jane, super appreciate you guys. I'm going to be reaching out to the neighborhood and letting them know that we just closed on your house. Do you mind if I share your names with the neighbors so they can come by and say hi to you in the future, sometime in the next couple of weeks? Most of the time they say, that would be fine. Okay. So now I'm going to call up Bob and Betty, and I'm going to say, Bob and Betty, Jimmy Clegg here, Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. Hey, I just want to let you know, neighbor's house at 123 Banana Street just closed. We put on the market for 400,000 and actually closed at 425. We were in a multiple offer situation. Your new neighbors are John and Jane. I was sitting across from them at the closing table, and they gave me permission to go ahead and share their name out with you guys, and they would welcome you coming by and knocking on their door and just letting them know that, welcome to the neighborhood, and that you're their new neighbors. It's just, and so all of this is just a great feel good to welcome Bob and Betty into the neighborhood, but also shows your care, your desire to make their neighborhood just a better place. So once again, you're taking them through that paradigm of knowing, liking, and trusting you. So that's 4 times. People have often asked me, hey, why did you do the inspection one? That's kind of the oddball one. Well, I was looking for one more way to talk to people. That's all I was. I said, where in the process, in the home purchase process, the home selling process, can I, it makes sense to call people. And while that's a little bit of an oddball one, and people, it doesn't quite make sense, it was merely to get another touch out there. Okay. Now, if you got, let's do some math here real quick. If you are able to connect with all 75, in the perfect world, you're able to connect with all 75 of those folks 4 times throughout the transaction process, how many total contacts, how many total conversations would you have within just that circle? 75 times 4. 300, right? Okay, that's 300. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's 300 touches or 300 contacts that you would have. Now, let's do another level of math here. If it takes you 70 conversations to get one transaction, and we just had 300 of them, how many potential transactions could be mined off of this one farm? or this one circle? 4 to 5. Yep, exactly. Okay. So that's a potential to have 4 to 5 transactions just out of this. It may be a friend of a friend who's buying or selling in there. It may be an actual listing. Ideally, you're going to get another listing within that circle. So I'm going to do another listing. I'm going to put another little home, and then I'm going to draw a circle around that home, and I'm going to contact them. I'm going to start the process all over again. Right. And then you're going to get another listing out of that listing, and you're going to draw another circle around this. Right. Do you see how you have just become the market expert? Do you see how people now all of a sudden go, oh, if I need to sell a home, I'm calling Jimmy because obviously he is dialed in on what's going on in my neighborhood. Folks, that's circle prospecting. I'll put the scripts. I'll hang the scripts in the, if I haven't already, I'll hang the scripts in your agent folder there. So you can see those 4 scripts that you guys can be using. Okay. What are your questions? Let me see here. Let me see, Jennifer. Okay. What was tough was finding addresses for Joey. Okay. Yep. It's okay. Show the names without their permission. I sell a lot sight unseen and never met the buyers. So you can, it'll be public record, but out of permission or just out of, I think, doing the right thing, talking to the buyers, maybe call them up and say, hey, listen, do I have permission to sell or to just share with the neighbors that your name's out there? I think that's just the right thing to do. Yes.
Yeah, I had a totally. So my first day on the call with you, I won that listing. Well, we just closed.
Okay.
And I wish I would have had this class because we did it all wrong.
Okay.
So but now that I have this, I feel like we just closed a couple weeks ago. Can't I just go back and still apply it?
Sure.
And I messaged Joey when you were talking. I was like, Joey, stop. Did you send those postcards? And he said, yes, he just sent them yesterday. So,
okay.
Oh, well, yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, so it's okay. So, but here's what I would do is this is a great way to enter into this GeoFarm is use the 4th script. Maybe if you go talk to the new buyers and just say, hey, buyers, I'm walking the neighborhood. I'm going to tell them that, do I have permission? Do I have your permission to share that you're their new neighbors? And then go walk the neighborhood and at this point, take a little bit of market data and say, hey, listen, I just listed and sold 123 Banana Street, your neighbors down there. By the way, here's the names of your new neighbors. They gave me permission to share that information with you. That's a great introduction and a great way to go and knock on somebody's door and share some great information with them.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I think your comment about really liking the neighborhood was important, as I don't know how your guys' neighborhoods are, but the neighborhood I'm talking about is 40 minutes away. Mm-hmm. So that's the way it is all around the lake where I live.
Right.
So we better make sure we like that neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, and this might be an opportunity now that, you listed and sold a property in that particular neighborhood, go knock on doors and see how friendly the people are. And if you've got some good receptive people and you can say, hey, listen, I just listed and sold your neighbor's house. And people are like, oh, well, that's cool. What'd you get for it? What they sell it for? Who are my new neighbors? And, and you got that good feeling. That might be something that you want to continue to move forward with. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep. Good. All right. Good question so far. Any other questions that are out there? Anything that jumped out at you before I start calling on you? All right, Lainey, what jumped out at you?
I was actually just doing the circle prospecting. And it went pretty well, I think, because the house just sold. But kind of got some weird feedback. Just saying like that I wanted to give them information and people were like, oh no, we're not interested. So I think just finding the right script is what
Okay.
I'm working on.
Okay. Were you using the script that kind of what I walked through with the script? Yep. Okay. What were they saying? What was some of the feedback that they were giving you?
Well, of course, most of them knew which house it was that was just sold.
Yeah.
And they just said, oh, we're not in the market or we're not looking to sell.
Okay.
So
okay.
I don't know what other questions, I guess, to ask to get better conversation.
And that's okay. Okay. That's okay if they say no. Not everybody. In fact, remember, to get one transaction, you need to have 69 no's, right? So just chalk it up to another one and move on. Hey, so on scripts, you guys will internalize these scripts. So if it gets tweaked a little bit, that's okay. But it's a starting point, and it gives you a discussion point when you call folks, or when you're door knocking to say, hey, listen, I just want to let you know your neighbor down the street, 123 Banana Street, here's some market data. Some people are going to be excited for it. A lot of people aren't, but that's okay, because they know they're getting to know you, they're getting to like you. And at some point a year from now, they may go, oh, wait a minute. Do you remember that? Oh, wait, who was that? Oh, wait, her postcard's right here on the, we tossed it into the drawer, but I really liked how she was really dialed in on the market data. We want her to sell our home, type of thing. Okay, good. All right. Kelsey, I know you jumped on a little bit late. Anything jump out at you?
No, it's hard to relate circle prospecting with commercial. It's just harder to get in contact with commercial. I think maybe going off of it, I can walk to each business, but it's, I just struggle with that because most of the time the owners aren't there. And if it is, there's no, most likely it's not going to be the owner. So, okay. I mean, but I think I could take from that, and I've kind of heard you talk about it before. So I think I can take from that and maybe, I don't know, try to do my own spin and just leave my card. Even if that doesn't get me anywhere, I can at least try.
Your own card, maybe you get a postcard that's just got some market data on it. That would probably be helpful for the business, because business folks are really, they're going to be numbers focused.
Of course. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thank you. Todd, anything jump out at you?
Just getting to know the people better in the circle prospecting.
Okay. Good. Shelby.
Yeah, I mean, I've done quite a bit of geofarming and circle prospecting, and it's gone okay. The only thing that I really have a hard time with is like pop buys and walking the neighborhood, only because I can't just get over the fact that I hate it when someone shows up at my house. My dogs freak out. So in my mind, it's just that like mental block that they're going to hate me showing up.
Right.
So I just need to get to know the people, I think, a little bit more through calling them and or like doing events before just like swinging by someone's house. So
okay, so let me help you with something. Yeah, somebody shows up at your door and you're not crazy to have them there, right? But are you mean to them?
No.
Okay, but you just politely tell them no, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? That's one of 69. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There might be somebody in all of the door knocking that I've ever done. I've only had one jerk.
Yeah.
Right. One. So it's in your own mind.
Yeah.
And that's, your Tom Ferry says it. It's your mind is a scary place to be. And I think that's a major reason why most people don't go out and door knock, is they're scared that people are going to be jerks about it.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of great conversations with folks as I'm, walking the neighborhood, because they're like, oh, well, what about, it's always, and it seems like it's always the old timers.
Yeah.
They want to know, hey, tell me more. Let's talk, let's chat. Right. Well, guess who does the most gossiping? Those old timers. Yeah. Those old timers. So why not go, just be friendly to them. Hey, here's some market data. I'm not asking anything from you. I'm just sharing some market information. And this is, I want to be of service to you. I want to provide you some value.
Sure.
I'll tell people that too. I'll be like, hey, I'm out here. I'm just walking. I just want to be of service to you. Here's some market information. And
Yeah.
they go, oh, okay. You're not trying to sell me anything? No, I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Yeah. And I geofarmed in my own neighborhood, which was a lot easier because I already know some people, and it's easier just to be like, I'm your neighbor. I just wanted to say hi or introduce
Absolutely.
myself.
Yeah.
When I started getting into other neighborhoods, those when things were a little scarier.
Yeah. Let me share this because this is always fun to me. If I say to somebody, hey, listen, I'm just trying to provide you service and some value right now. I'm not asking you to do anything else right at this point. And they're like, oh, really? Well, that's pretty cool. Thank you. Okay. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Because everyone assumes you're just trying to sell them something right away.
But then but then I always kind of start laughing about it. And I almost poke fun at myself and go, well, okay, I got to be honest with you. I'm a real estate agent. So when you are ready to sell your house, please give me a call. But if it's not right now, it's not right now. But I just want you to know me. I want you to I want you to know me so that whenever the time happens, that you trust me to sell your house. And that breaks down a lot of barriers. It breaks down a lot of walls when you're not coming straight at them and going, hey, okay, you ready? Hey, let me show you all this. Let me show you who I am. And blah, right now you have to take them through that KLT paradigm.
Yeah.
Good. All right, Catherine, one more. Catherine, what do you got?
Nothing. This just got me excited about thinking about neighborhoods that I'm personally excited about, neighborhoods that I would love to live in myself, or kind of where my target audience lives.
Yeah.
Being like having a professional background, I also want to target professionals. So thinking where those people are at the moment.
Perfect.
So
yeah,
that's what I got out of it.
Great. Thank you. Ryan, I see you got your hand raised there.
Yeah, I just wanted to, so Shelby, I thought it was when you mentioned that you don't like people coming and your dogs bark, I totally thought to myself, and I wrote down, bring dog treats.
Yes.
So when I go to people's houses, that's what I'll do now. I'll bring dog treats. And like if somebody came to my house and my dog was barking and they offered my dog a treat and wanted to meet my dog, I would be so much more open to talking to them, and especially if they want to talk about my dog. So I think that that's a great idea.
Yes.
No, that is a really good idea. That'd be super nice to do. I mean, from my experience, my dog would probably like take the person's hand off, but not everybody's dogs are like that. So no, that's a really good idea.
Right. Yeah, no, good. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. So, all right, team. Hey, we're at time here. I appreciate all of you for sticking with me through the front as we were having a little technological challenges. But we'll go ahead. I'll hang these notes that I wrote down in the folder, and we'll run from there. So, all right. Have a good week. Go be rock stars, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.